What's going on YouTube? This is Jabber Tech, and my favorite Wear OS device right now, the Suunto 7, just received a major update, and it brought some features that I think should have been here from the beginning, such as an always-on display for when you're using an activity, when you're out there doing your thing, trying to keep fit. You now have the ability to see all of your information at just a glance. There's also a big battery update that should really improve battery life on the Suunto 7, as well as some GPS tricks that's definitely going to increase that battery life. But enough talk about it. If you're looking for an awesome Wear OS device and you like running from time to time, or you consider yourself an active person, the Suunto 7 really is your best option. It's a really nice screen, it's a really nice watch overall, but let's get into this update, and if you're interested in checking out my full review, here's the card, and I'll leave it down below, but this update is huge. Let's get into it right now and see what it's all about. Before we get into the update, if you've been following my channel, you know I really like watch faces, and I usually load all of my devices up with a ton of watch faces. Having owned the Suunto 7 since basically release, you can see I still have the stock faces on here, and that's because, quite honestly, I never change it off of this heat map. This is the best watch face in my opinion. No matter where you go, if you go to a different area, this heat map is going to change with you. This heat map is going to show you all the different areas where people bike, run, hike, swim, whatever the case is. You can change that heat map in the settings here, and you can choose whatever you want to see. So if you're in a new area and you like playing golf, you can get a heat map for golf. I actually don't think anyone plays around here, and you can see that the entire map is basically ghosted out. But I like this watch face. I really like the fact that Suunto included this heat map. I would like to see an update push. Suunto, if you're listening, I would like to see an update pushed for this heat map to kind of just give me my own trails, to let me know where I've actually ran, biked, swam, whatever the case is. I think that'd be pretty cool, and that'd be a pretty good incentive to get people out there to bike or run a little bit more, just so they could fill up more of that heat map. There are a couple things new that I have to show you on the actual Suunto app, but let me show you what's new on the actual watch itself. Now, this is something that was beyond me when I did my initial review. You have this beautiful screen on the Suunto 7. It's arguably one of the best Wear OS screens on the market, but you had this really nice screen here, but it didn't show you any information when you were doing an exercise. When you were working out, you had this blank screen that didn't show you anything at all. Well, with the new update, it gives you a whole bunch of always-on information. It gives you a whole bunch of information that you don't have to activate the screen to see. Well, now you can see Suunto's implemented this activity always-on display, which uses a lot less power than if you had the screen running, and it gives you basically all of the information that you'd want to see at a glance. So you get to see your heart rate zone with this nice graphic right over here. In the middle of the watch face, you get to see all of your information about your current activity. This happens to be cycling, so you can see your distance, you'll see your heart rate, you'll see your cadence, you'll see your time, you'll see your elevation. This is all customizable right now. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And you see your overall timer on the bottom. You can scroll over to different screens as well. If you want to do manual laps, you can of course do that as well on the Suunto 7. So there we go. I'm on lap 3. Let's press it again, lap 4. Swiping over to the next screen, you get to see a graph of your heart rate during your activity. This is an actual map, and if I was outdoors, it'd be able to show me where I am. And then you go back to your initial screen. Another complaint that I had about the Suunto 7 is that if you did some sort of exercise, it really drained the battery. That GPS really drained a lot of the battery on the Suunto 7. Well, they've also addressed that, and I'm happy to say that I think it's actually working out. I'm going to go for an actual long bike ride and let you guys know down in the comments below. But according to Suunto, this is going to save you guys a lot of battery, because now we have two options for the GPS. We can either have it track every second, or we can have it track every 10 seconds, plus use their Fuse Track technology. And basically, Fuse Track plus the 10 seconds is really good for biking or running, because you really don't need to track every single second. That would be more useful if you were hiking, and you really wanted to leave those breadcrumbs to help you get back. So I'm going to leave that on good. I'm going to go for a bike ride and let you guys know down in the comments below how that's actually going. You also have another option here. If you guys like to see the map, again, useful if you're hiking or whatever the case may be, you can always keep the map up front so you'll be able to see where you are. So that's a good way to have this always on display actually show you something useful when you're out doing an activity. Other than these power saving modes that Suunto has included, Google's promised that the new update for Wear OS is also going to help improve battery life. Again, let's see how that goes. But this by far still is my favorite watch, even if I have to charge it every single day. Now, a couple new options. I do have to show you what they are on the actual Suunto app, and that's the ability to create your own route now. You can sync it to your watch, and you don't need a mobile data connection to actually figure out what those routes are later on in the future. We can also use our own GPX files from maybe other running apps that you have download them and share them to the watch itself. I think that's something super cool. It gives you the ability to have offline navigation. It gives you the ability to have those offline maps for when you need to. In order to update maps to your Suunto 7, you can do it a bunch of different ways. This is an actual heat map of where people cycle along in New York City. You can see that people cycle pretty much everywhere. You can go into My Routes and you can have the Suunto 7 plan a route for you, which is similar to what's found on Garmin devices. It's just a great way to kind of figure out a new route if you're in a new area, or if you want to check out a new biking map. So let's go to the West Side Highway here on 48th Street. That's going to be my starting point. If you click on some of the options on the bottom, we have a couple ways we can do it. We can do a free draw, and if you actually know where you're going, you can draw the route yourself and then send it to the watch. You can choose any road or path. You can choose all road types, avoiding hills. You can also choose mountain biking roads or paved roads for road cycling. Since I'm in New York City, I'm going to keep it on paved roads. And let's say I want to bike to the other side of the river. So let's choose West New York. I'm just going to do a random point just like that. And you can see the distance from point A to point B. It's about 13.82 miles. The ascent is 1,083 feet. And you can change your average miles per hour here. So if you know the average that you usually cycle, it'll tell you the estimated time. So at 15 miles an hour average, it'll take me 55 minutes. If I'm a little slower, let's go to 10 miles an hour. It's going to estimate that it'll take me an hour and 22. This is just a great way to find a new route to actually bike. So once we do that, we can click on done. Let's create a name. Let's call this test ride, and select the activity type. I'm going to change it to cycling, just like that. Click on OK. Click on that little add to watch. Click on save, and that's going to send it over to the watch itself. There's my test ride, and there's another cool feature I'm going to show you in just a second. Now if we go to community, we can see a whole bunch of different ways we can access new rides and whatnot. You see these little yellow dots, that's just where people have actually started their runs from. So this dude Christian is a roller skater. Good for you, dude. I'm happy to see someone's keeping that sport alive. If you click on his activity, you'll be able to see anything that he's shared publicly along his ride. I guess that's something that he just wanted to share for fun, but you can see his duration, the distance, etc., etc. That's not important right now. What's important is you can see his map. So he actually did go for quite a roller skating ride. I'd imagine he actually biked this. I don't think he roller skated across the GW bridge, but if he did, good for you, Christian. All you have to do now is save the route and do the same thing. You can name the route. Let's call this, I don't know, test 2, just to show you on the map, because there is a cool function. Let's do test 2, and that's going to save it to the Suunto 7. The best feature, in my opinion, is the ability to import your own GPX file. So I've downloaded one from one of my rides on my Garmin device. Let's click on import route. Here's my activity. It's going to quickly input the map information and show me all about that ride that I went on. So it was a 37-mile bike ride, and I know it didn't take me 7 hours, but you got to change this for some reason. Let's do that. 2 hours and 40. That seems about right. And you can go ahead and you can see where your starting point was, where your ending point was. But if I want to change the ending point for some reason, all I have to do is tap on another part of the map, and it's going to extend that. It's going to either increase or decrease it depending on what your initial press was. So you can see I added a couple miles to it, and then all you have to do now is click on done. Let's keep that name the same and switch from running back to cycling. Let's do that. Add to watch, click on save. So by far, guys, this is the best feature that Suunto's implemented, and you can see all of your saved routes right over here on the actual app itself. Again, I give Suunto a lot of credit for constantly updating the Suunto 7. Now starting up the Suunto application, you can go in and select a route, and you can see all of the routes that you've saved, all of the routes that you've created or inputted, all of them will be right there. One more option that I think is worth showing you, because it is super important. When you're doing an activity, not all of us want to see the same data fields, not all of us want to know our pace, maybe we just want to know our average pace. Well, now we can customize the pages that we see during an activity. Go into sport mode customization, and you can create different pages for a number of activities. I've actually created 2. Maybe I want to see something different when I'm road biking versus mountain biking. In order to do that, all you have to do from the actual app is go to create sport mode, click on the activity that you're interested in changing those data points for. I'm going to click on cycling, and then I'm going to name this one road cycling, because maybe I want this to show me different fields. Once we do that, you can see we have 4 pages that we have to work with. So let's start with the first page, the most important page. This is what you're going to see first and foremost. You can change the amount of fields you see from 2 all the way up to 6, or if you just want to see a graph. So I like to see 6 fields. I like to see a lot of information. Field 1 will show you distance, heart rate, speed. Now you have duration. Let's change that second duration maybe to, let's go to cadence, because I like to see my cadence. And then if we go to the 6th data field down here, let's change that maybe to altitude. Going on to your second page here, you can change this as well, and you can see whatever you want to see. So if you want another page with 6 fields showing you different information, you can do that. Or if you just want to see your lap table, you can select that as well. Click on save, and this is going to save that sport mode over to your watch itself. Now if we open up the Suunto application on the watch, you can see that underneath the activity that we want to select, here's my road cycle that I just uploaded to the watch itself. And if we click on start, you'll see all of those data fields that I just imported. Going to screen 2, you see my lap. There's that lap table that I inputted, and there's the map right over there. That's basically it. I wanted to show you this update for the Suunto 7 because, again, this is my favorite watch. I really like the Suunto 7, and the fact that they keep updating it gives me hope, gives me a smile on my face that this is going to be a watch I can use for the long term. This is going to be a watch that I can use for the foreseeable future. I'm excited to see how this update improves battery life, and definitely the ability to change that GPS from 1 second to 10 seconds in terms of tracking is huge. That's going to save a lot of power, and I'm going to update you guys down in the comments below after I go for a couple rides to let you know how the battery life has improved, or if it hasn't. Let me know if you have any questions about this. Again, if you're looking for an awesome Wear OS device, if you're looking for an awesome fitness Wear OS smartwatch, Suunto 7 is the way to go. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in another video.